When it comes down to the classic era of YouTube and online entertainment, many people look back on beloved channels like The Angry Video Game Nerd and Nostalgia Critic. These two series in particular have become so beloved over the years. In the wild west of YouTube, when people posted whatever they wanted and tried to show their creativity and had fun while doing it, the era of YouTube is still looked back on fondly. The era where everything about it was just new and exciting. Everybody had their favorite kind of video to watch back in the day, and for me, the video genre I loved the most was the comedic review show. And if you grew up watching YouTube or any other video-based website back then, you likely remember watching AVGN, Nostalgia Critic, or any other similar channel. So many people took inspiration from channels like these, and while many were very blatant about it, there were also so many others that managed to make it into their own little thing and make yet another great web show. I always thought that this was so cool that people could make their own shows talking about whatever movie or game they wanted to, give it a genuine review, and make it entertaining with skits and jokes throughout. It was really interesting and looked like a lot of fun. I also found it cool seeing how far back it actually went. When I discovered Doug Walker was inspired by that of Siskel and Ebert or Gene Shalit, amongst other TV-based review shows, I just thought, wow. These kinds of shows could also be on TV. The people who make them could be seen as celebrities and be featured on cartoons like The Critic and SpongeBob. I mean, I guess it's not too different from what Doug does nowadays.
Hello, I'm Daniel the Demon Slayer. I slay demons so you don't have to. So the only way to slay this demon is you must drain its blood on a full moon. Ooh! Now don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that.
I'm sure many people have stumbled upon videos like this at one point or another. It's the kind of video genre where it's a little tricky to describe in words, but you know it when you see it. I mean, there's a lot of cheesier elements to these videos that make them pretty dated all in all, but there's a certain charm to it now. A charm where it's like, yeah, it was funny back then, and even today it's kind of ironically funny. I mean, look at a channel like Chris D. Star, for example.
Oh, spirits, please tell me what the Illumination Super Mario Brothers movie is gonna look like. Oh, gosh!
Only photo of my family I have left.
What? I'm not crying. You're crying.
This is one of those channels that just screams old school reviewer. The non sequitur skits, random jabs at celebrities, references to other media, it's just classic. Complete with Chris here wearing a Mario hat to make him stand out. Yeah, just a classic comedic review, uploaded here on the website back in 2021? What the hell? This video isn't even a decade old? Wow, I mean, that just shows how big the influence these channels had, where their presence can still be seen today.
The more you know.
Now, with that being said, many of these channels can be pretty dated, with many of them looking back on them in a more comedic, ironic sense. Nowadays, a lot of people kind of joke about the cheesy tropes and cheesier aspects of these videos, and there are plenty of others who likely didn't think much about these channels back then, but still see value in them, and still find charm and enjoyment in watching a review like this.
I know I'm not the only one feeling nostalgic for those times either. You know, back when the internet was a fun place, you had people with genuine passion for these weird niche interests and wanted to share them to anyone, or they wanted to copy the people who were doing that. Most of them weren't technically good, but I think there's something that was just lost along the way when everyone started to chase the algorithm. At some point, people just stopped making videos, and if you'll indulge me, I want to go back, just for a little while.
So I thought it'd be fun to indulge in this as well. I loved these kinds of review shows back then, and I still love them to this day, flaws and all. So let's have some fun and look back at these old school review channels. Whether you're reliving the past or just learning about this genre of content for the first time, I hope you can find some entertainment in these channels. I think this will be a fun topic. This is the forgotten charm of old school reviewers. Now, like I said, I ate up a lot of channels like this back then, because there were hundreds of review channels like this back in the day. So I think it's appropriate that for the first entry, we talk about one of the first people on this site that I started watching that falls under this category. Technically speaking, Game Master 468 is the first one I used to watch, but even then I saw some of Nostalgia Critic's reviews before I watched his review series. It would be cool to talk about Game Master, but I might save that for later on in case I revisit this topic. There's a lot I could discuss about his My Thoughts series. But there was another channel that I also liked watching around that same time, who also had their own comedic review show. This channel was called Cooper Raymer, aka the Hedgehog Ninja. Now, if you search for this channel nowadays, it's a bit tricky. If you type in Cooper Raymer, the channel still appears, but it's under a different title. If you look at the channel now, it's called Noe the Fox, and for a period of time, all of these videos were gone. For you see, the channel's creator, Noah Raymer, or Noelle as she goes by nowadays, was embarrassed by these videos. If that wasn't made obvious by the altered titles they have now. So she unlisted them. But thanks to fan outcry, and a bit of harassment, she decided to go back on her decision and put the videos back up for everyone to see, much to the delight of the fans, myself included. That's the thing with these older reviewers. Because there were so many of them back then, it's inevitable that not all of them are available to watch nowadays. Especially if the creator was embarrassed by their content and wanted to distance himself from it. That's what happened to Noelle as she rebranded the channel and now mostly focuses on Twitch streams. But back in 2013, she was known as the Hedgehog Ninja and mostly made content adjacent to that of the Nostalgia Critic. She started off by making countdowns, which is how I found her. And despite what Noelle thinks of her content now, I think they still hold up alright. I still enjoy watching these countdowns. One thing that I will say, however, is that these videos can be pretty dated.
And I can even say that I'm even tempted to give the reboot game a try. Oh jeez, the fanboys are gonna kill me for saying that. In fact, I can safely say that PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale is probably one of the most overhated gems on the PS3. Yeah, I said it. Come at me, haters. Man, screw One Direction, Justin Bieber, and Miley Cyrus and all of their garbagey lameness.
Could you tell this video is from 2013? But aside from these countdowns, there was another series that Noelle was doing at the time that I enjoyed way more than the top 10 list. The series was called The Hedgehog Ninja Reviews. And like I said, these videos were adjacent to that of Nostalgia Critic. And once you watch these videos... Oh god, this one takes me back. This checks off all the boxes. The cartoon characters and avatar, all the cheesy one-liners, the clips from other media, the overly animated anger, the skits, the commentary, it's all here. This just screams what videos like this were like back then. They're cheesy in a way that's pretty charming nowadays, and once you watch these videos, it takes you back to that era of the early 2010s in YouTube. It's hard to really put into words, but as a kid, I found videos like this to be endlessly entertaining.
Okay, I was just kidding.
And yes, these videos are filled with all kinds of jokes like that. Like, honestly, how many times have you seen a reviewer do that joke? Where they play a clip from the thing that they're reviewing, they do a comedic edit, and then they clarify it like, alright, that doesn't actually happen. As if you needed to say that.
Okay, there's no gore, but there is something just as equally terrifying.
It's kind of hard to really start talking about a channel like this because, again, it's one of those things where you know it when you see it. Noelle seems to favor her newer videos in comparison to the older ones, and while I do agree that these newer ones are objectively better, you can't beat jokes like this.
You only get one chance, and that's what you want. What's the world gonna say when I call your bluff, punk?
Never say never, Ed.
Don't ever say never say never. The last thing we need here is a Justin Bieber song.
Really though, in spite of these videos having a lot of these cornier jokes and ironically funny moments, they're actually still pretty good reviews in their own right. There's plenty of jokes in here that actually land. The videos are well edited, and Noelle puts a good amount of effort into each one of them, with her giving a good analysis of whatever game, movie, or show she's discussing. But there is definitely a lot of dated elements to these videos, and I'll slurp up those elements in a heartbeat. And the one trope that these reviews always have that I just can't get enough of is the trope of the reviewer adding their own lore to the world around them, and attempting to shoehorn some story arc into these silly reviews. While some reviewers try not to take these storylines too seriously, many of them unironically played them straight and expected people to be invested in watching them. And nowadays, it's an element that people like to mock about these videos. However, I was not one of these people back then. As a kid, I was genuinely invested in the storylines that these reviewers put in the videos. Like, the skits were already entertaining enough, but now they're putting lore and character into it, so now you have to watch every episode. It gave me incentive to tune in. I was on the edge of my seat when Game Master finally confronted his evil Wii. I still maintain that storyline was genuinely done really well. Like, genuinely, it's one of the best ones. It's just fun watching this sort of thing play out, and regardless of your thoughts of these story arcs, whether you like them or not, I think, objectively speaking, they all show off a sense of passion and creativity from each individual creator. It goes back to that sense of muse that I got from watching these videos, and it's fun seeing an individual create something for a smaller niche of people who just like watching this. In the case of the Hedgehog Ninja, Noelle attempted her own story arc that lasted for a couple of reviews. Now, I want to talk a bit about the story arc, but before we do, we need to address something about the channel. You see, since Noelle talked about a lot of copyrighted material in her videos, she, and many other creators during this time, faced a lot of problems with YouTube's copyright system. It was sadly a common problem at the time, and because of this, 2 of Noelle's countdowns are currently lost. One of them has been partially found, as it was a collab with another creator, Blackish Butler, but part 1 is still lost. And the other one was a countdown that I only found a screenshot of within one of Noelle's other videos. The countdowns were usually unaffected by copyright, but the reviews were a different story. So, Noelle reposted most of the reviews onto Vimeo and Dailymotion. So while some of these videos are still up on YouTube, many of them were released to these 2 pages. So you kind of have to hop between a few pages to watch all of them, which makes viewing a little less comfortable, but I've been watching this channel for years, so I'm used to it. It's inconvenient at times, but I appreciate that Noelle put the ones from YouTube on these pages as well, so it makes viewing a little more comfortable. However, there is one review that has been posted to either of these pages, and that's a review of Yu-Gi-Oh! The movie. And unlike the other 2 videos, this review isn't actually lost. It's still on YouTube, thankfully, but it's blocked, so you have to use a VPN to watch it. Okay, so this is where the story arc begins. I used a VPN to watch and try to archive the video. I'm still in the midst of doing that, but either way, I saw it, and I gotta say, it was absolutely not worth the hassle. For as much as copyright has screwed over Noelle, this was one instance where YouTube was 100% in the right for blocking the video. In fact, I think deleting it would have actually been a fair punishment in this case. That may sound extreme, but the video is almost 40 minutes long, and it barely qualifies under fair use. There are multiple moments throughout the video where Noelle just plays clips from the movie uncut for minutes on end. There's no jokes, no commentary, and even when there are some jokes, they're usually very brief, like not even a minute long, and then it goes right back to playing the movie uncut. I remember being disappointed when I saw this review back in the day. Like, I just wanted to see Noelle tell some jokes about the movie and hear her thoughts on it. And this video just doesn't feel like a review in the slightest. Thankfully, you don't have to watch the review to understand the story arc. All you need to know is that the video exists. It'll make sense in a little bit. The next video in the story arc is one of the countdowns. Top 10 Mortal Kombat fatalities. Standard fare countdown. But at the end of the video, this happens.
It's trying to make the next moments of his life as miserable as he can imagine. He shall regret the day doing what he just did, and I'm going to make sure he acknowledges that.
This floored me when I saw it for the first time back in 2014. I had to know what happened next. Who was this shadowy figure? What's he going to do to our favorite Hedgehog Ninja? This all accumulated into the grand finale of this story arc. A big 3-part review of the 2012 film Red Dawn. The idea of an extended Hedgehog Ninja review for a huge discussion on a horrible remake, and the video was clearly a passion project for Noelle at the time. A 3-part review that's 80 minutes long. It's just, this was just so awesome as a kid. Back to the storyline. Noelle wakes up in a prison, and we finally find out who the masked figure was that kidnapped her.
I must ask before I go on to any more questions that I have. Who are you?
Why, I'm Maximilian Pegasus.
You cannot be Maximilian Pegasus. Seriously.
Huh?
So it turns out the villain in this arc is Pegasus from Yu-Gi-Oh!, which was another common trope for videos like this, using a character from fiction as an antagonist. It turns out he kidnapped Noelle because he didn't like her review of Yu-Gi-Oh! The movie. And honestly, I'm on his side on that one. So as a way to get revenge on Noelle, he abducted her, and because of the review show, he has to torture her by forcing her to review a bad movie. Oh, the humanity. Now honestly, this review is pretty entertaining. Noelle and Pegasus have a pretty funny dynamic, kind of just going back and forth while doing the review. There's some good dialogue between the two of them. Honestly, out of all the videos, I recommend you seek out this one the most. It's genuinely really funny. One of my favorite gags throughout the video is how Noelle keeps playing clips from Drake and Josh, as a way to mock Josh Peck's character in the film, who constantly makes dumb decisions.
What happens when you get caught?
Because if it were me, you wouldn't keep looking, right?
No, not if it meant putting everyone else's ass on the line.
I'm not you, Jed.
No, you're not. The team has got to come first. Get that through your head.
Erica's my family, Jed. She's more family than you are.
Yeah.
In a moment of pure sorrow and helplessness, Noelle considers throwing in the towel, after giving this heart-wrenching performance.
Why? Why? Why?
She just can't stomach any more of this awful film. But in our hero's darkest moment, we see a glimmer of hope. A miracle. Fellow YouTuber JP the Omnislayer, whose avatar is Ben 10 by the way, sees footage of Noelle's captivity. Without hesitation, he rushes to rescue her. Meanwhile, Noelle, using all of her might, manages to survive the train wreck of a film. But surprise, surprise, Pegasus isn't actually going to release her that easily. He plans on keeping her there to review more Drek for all eternity.
Or you can watch the whole entirety of movie 43 for a whole day.
Oh god, no.
Time for you to pick your poison.
It isn't until JP rushes to the rescue. And I do like this idea here. Since Ben 10 is his avatar, JP possesses Ben's Omnitrix and uses it to defeat Pegasus. That's actually kind of a clever way to take advantage of the cartoon avatars. Now this is where things take a bit of a bizarre turn. So you might remember I said that JP saw footage of Noelle being held captive, but how exactly did he get that footage, you may ask? I mean, it's a review being broadcast on Noelle's channel, so that's how he saw it, right? Well, no.
Pegasus?
Yes?
You broadcasted this whole review around the world?
Of course. I wanted the entire world to see you in your misery.
Are you an idiot?
Idiot? Why is that?
By broadcasting this across the entire world, you have the possibility of anyone having the idea of saving me and stopping you once and for all.
So yeah, it turns out Pegasus broadcasted it on TV somehow, and then Noelle goes off on him, and rants about how stupid his plan was, almost reviewing his plan in a way. As if that changes anything, because the review literally starts with Noelle saying this to the audience.
Well, remember Pegasus from Yu-Gi-Oh!, the guy who created the game itself in the series? He captured me in my sleep and placed me here in this jail, which he calls the Shadow Realm for some reason, and he used some sort of device of some sort to turn me into what you're looking at right now, and now he's forcing me to review a certain movie that he had planned for me.
The whole joke is that Pegasus was so incompetent that he thought it was a good idea to film his crime for the world to see. Basically a calling card to save Noelle. But what difference does it make? They were talking to the audience the whole time. Like, it doesn't make sense. Anyways, JP and Noelle escape. Noelle warns Pegasus that if he harms them again, they'll make sure he pays for it. Why she doesn't just kill him right there, I have no idea. But Pegasus ensures that this won't be the last time we see him. And after that epic final battle, JP and Noelle head home, as the harrowing adventure comes to a close. Or does it?
So, what should we do for the time being?
Well, how about we do a collab?
A collab? After saving me, how could I say no? So, what are we gonna do for our collab?
Let's just say it's an interesting topic.
But unfortunately, that actually was the end. The collab between JP and Noel tragically never happened. It was scrapped as the two continued on with other projects in their channels. And that genuinely upset me as a kid. I thought about this collab endlessly, hoping I'd come home from school one day to see that it was finally uploaded. But the day never came. I've been bitter ever since. Really though, this wasn't even that huge of a deal. I mean, it's not like the last video ended on a cliffhanger or anything. From what I do remember, I think the collab was just going to be another countdown. I think it would have been Pokemon related, but was scrapped for whatever reason. I don't think it was actually meant to be connected to the storyline or anything. I think this was just meant to be a lead-in for the collab. You know, just something for fun. But who knows? Maybe this would have been some grand finale to the storyline, with Pegasus coming back to derail the review, and the duo has to defeat him once and for all. I guess we'll never know. Noelle went on to make several more high-quality reviews after this one, but she never revisited this idea of the story arc. I guess it was probably just meant to be an experiment, and she kept it open-ended, in case she ever wanted to revisit it. Now, around 2016 or so, Noelle kind of stopped uploading, and this was around the time when she was becoming more ashamed of her videos. Again, she retitled them Old Crappy Videos. She did attempt to make a comeback in 2020, under the name The Foxy Phantom Thief, which lasted for a grand total of one video. And Noelle sort of distanced herself from the Hedgehog Ninja, and now she's a Twitch VTuber, while her channel remains dormant, barring a few clips from her streams being posted on there every now and then. I do appreciate that she was willing to relist the videos for those who actually enjoyed them, in spite of her embarrassment. Considering the era in which these videos came out, I can't say I'm surprised that her and others were embarrassed by videos like this. At a time where everyone tried to create videos like this, it's always nice to see someone who not only kept them up, but was willing to let people see their own work, even if they don't like it as much as they do. Honestly though, I don't think Noelle should look at these videos in shame. I know it's easy for me to say that as a fan. I don't know how embarrassed she actually was, but in spite of some flaws, these videos are unironically really entertaining. Noelle really had something here. Really, she did. But if she wants to focus on other projects, that's totally fine. Kudos to her, and I wish nothing but the best for her in the future. Thanks for all the videos, Noelle. As a creator, I owe you and Game Master a lot for getting me into this sort of thing to begin with.
I'm the Hedgehog Ninja, I hope I served your time well, and I'll see you guys next time.
This next one is a bit of a special case. As I mentioned earlier, it's sadly pretty common for these channels to become forgotten and eventually be removed, as the people behind these review channels become less fond of their work over time. While it is understandable from the perspective of someone who wants to be seen in a more professional light, it's also sad whenever a channel like this goes down. It feels like a little piece of classic YouTube just died as a result. It's understandable, but never something I like to see. Whether you found these videos entertaining or not, it really is a tragic byproduct of YouTube's evolution, and a general byproduct of time passing by. Because of this, there were many of these review channels that got lost in the fold over the years. Those who had their content re-uploaded are the lucky ones, but there's bound to be an obscure channel to have their content removed and go unarchived. And that's the case for this next guy, so I have very limited footage to work with. Bear with me here. There was a channel I remember watching years ago called Bobby Singer. Now, this channel was similar to Cooper Raymer's, as this guy posted both countdowns and reviews. I didn't really watch him that much compared to the other channels I liked back then, so I don't remember anything about the countdowns or what topics he covered. I just remember thinking that they were fine. Not bad, but nothing too memorable. Maybe there was more to them that I just didn't realize at the time, but with the channel gone now, there's no way to really know. Now, Bobby had another show on his channel that I was way more into. This was a show that he did called The Animated Avenger. The show started around 2013 or 2014. And it is yet another time capsule of YouTube. It just screams 2013 YouTube if one of the reviews was, well, what else? A review of Teen Titans Go. Everybody and their grandmother was ranting about this show back in the day. And this was further brought upon thanks to YouTubers like Mr. Enter, who looked at it in a more professional sense, for a lack of better terminology, because his videos back then were also pretty low quality.
Hold up. Is Beast Boy eating a pepperoni pizza? Pepperoni! In the original, Beast Boy was a vegetarian, and that made sense because, in his own words, he's been most of those animals. Would it hurt them to at least keep a character sheet? Maybe do some fucking research?
The animated Avenger was very much inspired by Mr. Enter, as it's basically the same thing as animated atrocities, since Bobby covers bad cartoons. Even though I didn't really care too much about Bobby's channel, I was really into this show, and tuned into his channel to check up on the animated Avenger every now and then. Sadly, the show didn't last very long. In fact, it only had 4 episodes from what I recall. As mentioned earlier, he also reviewed an episode of Teen Titans Go, Gorilla. This was the one I watched the most, and I remember finding it very funny as a kid. I even went out of my way to tell other people to go look for the video and recommend this guy. The only thing with the video, though, was that it wasn't actually uploaded to YouTube because of copyright, so much like Noel's videos, it was uploaded to Dailymotion instead. So you kind of had to go out of your way to watch this one. Around 2016, I want to say, is when Bobby deleted his channel. That's when I last remember checking out his channel and discovered that it was gone. I didn't really think much about it at the time, but every now and then the channel would creep its way back into my memory. The memories of the skits and the over-the-top anger Bobby presented made it just stick out of my mind. And now it was gone. But then I remembered something. Wait a minute, the Gorilla review. It was never uploaded to YouTube because of copyright. It was on Dailymotion. You don't think maybe it's still on there, right? So I searched for it. I looked up Teen Titans Go reviews on Dailymotion, and lo and behold, it was still up after all these years. I was stunned. Really, I was. I felt like I had made some grand discovery. Like I just recovered a piece of lost media. And in a way, I kind of did. This really is the equivalent of unlocking a core memory. I saw this guy years ago, never thought I'd ever see him again, and now we have a small taste of what his videos were like. The animated Avenger is, again, just a cartoon reviewer, who focuses more on the negative side of animation, reviewing bad cartoons as a caricature of sorts. And when I say he played a character, I mean he played a character.
Are we done? Yes, we're done. Right after we do 900 jump squats.
Way to not feel bad for your friend who just fell apart, you jackass!
Someone needs to supervise, and as your leader, I am willing to make that sacrifice.
After all, I need to be particularly dickish in this episode so the audience doesn't feel bad for me later. Ha 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 ha! Supervising! Just so we're clear, anyone who dies because of Mammoth's apparently random rampage, yeah, you can totally pin that on Beast Boy. Yeah, just saying.
There were hundreds of review channels like this back then, and probably even more ranting channels where they just review a bad piece of media in a character format. Mr. Enter kind of bridged the gap between these two. He's very derivative of an era in the fact that he rants about bad cartoons and bad episodes of shows like SpongeBob, and gets overly animated about his thoughts.
Hey, this kind of reminds me of real-life situations when people can't get their hands or other extremities out of nooks or machinery. They spend days calling for help that never comes, eventually forced to cut off that extremity in pure desperation. And these hacks think that a scenario like that can be used for comedy.
It's hysterical in an ironic sense, but Mr. Enter and other similar channels were more so inspired by that of Nostalgia Critic, so they were a little more high quality. As time went on, that's another can of worms, story for another day. But the point is, while videos like this can be ironically funny, especially if the reviewer takes the review too seriously, and if we can learn anything from watching these review shows is that they can be pretty funny no matter what, whether they try to be intentionally funny or not. It kind of makes me feel bad since I know these people are genuinely trying to be funny, and as we saw, people like Cooper Raymer can be genuinely entertaining. In the case of the animated Avenger though, he definitely tried to be funny, but the videos are more so funny in the cheesy sense. But there's a great amount of charm to his performance. It's not the most comprehensive review of a show, and there are obviously funnier critics out there. But his performance in this video is just infectious. He really put a lot of energy into playing this angry reviewer type. His tone and inflection reminds me a lot of a lot of the other reviewers around this time.
Gorillas are not monkeys, they are apes. Did the writer of an episode called Gorilla genuinely not know this? Dumb.
He does a good job emanating this angry energy from his persona. It's very hysterical, really it is. It's a shame his channel isn't up anymore, because I feel like if someone had found this channel, they could have reposted some of these, and some of them probably would have been spread around the web. People like watching this sort of thing. It just radiates the same energy of that one SpongeBob rant.
Even though SpongeBob and Patrick were in his house the whole fucking time and were responsible for everything. Yeah! Fuck this episode!
Later on in the video, there's this scene where these two guys come in, and they do this weird non sequitur skit in between the review.
Okay, Bobby is asleep. We have to keep the audience entertained. What do we do?
Well, I did have this one idea.
Never have an idea again.
This is just so endearing. I love the cheesiness on display here. It's such a random, out of left field moment, but the end product is just a masterpiece. I guess these two were meant to be Bobby's sidekicks or something, maybe his equivalent to Tamara and Malcolm. Another trope and one that I love about these videos. Whether it's a real human being or a fictional character, I love it whenever they have other characters on these review shows. I miss you, Mati.
Why do you think you got heart and everyone else got the flashier powers?
Because I'm Indian.
It really has the charm of three friends just making a funny video together. I wonder if these two appeared in the other reviews, but it's too bad we can't check. It really is a shame that Bobby took down his videos, because even though they're very dated, and I can't blame him if he looks down on them, I think he's genuinely really funny. You could tell Bobby and his friends had a lot of fun making these, and I'm not sure where Bobby is nowadays, but I hope the guy's doing alright. This is sort of meant to be a PSA in a way. I know this is highly unlikely, but for the off chance that anyone has an archive of Bobby's old videos, please let me know. I know that's very unlikely, but it's not entirely impossible. I mean, there's only 4 episodes, and the fact that we have one archived is a miracle. But I really hope we can find the remaining 3 episodes, because if this episode is anything to go off of, we are missing out on peak entertainment.
You're an idiot! You're all colossal idiots! I hate this show! I hate it! I hate it! You know, I think it's finally starting to take effect.
For the final subject in this video, we have a very obscure channel that I'm almost certain that none of you have heard of. I know you could say that for a lot of these review channels, but this one in particular is one that I found deep into YouTube. The channel we're talking about is called TheShinkoShowLSD. I probably butchered that. This is a series that focuses on a guy named Lenny, who does these Nostalgia Critic-esque reviews of movies. He seems to focus especially on older animation, with movies like Roger Rabbit, and even reviewed the first Disney movie, Snow White, a film from 1937. It's rare that a movie that my great-grandfather watched would get featured in a comedy-based review like this. And from the looks of his channel, it's clear that this guy is really passionate about animation. Being able to share his passion through a show where he could still try to be funny is admirable. However, we wouldn't be talking about this guy if there wasn't more to it. When looking at the skits and jokes in the video, it's pretty standard fare. This kind of thing that we're used to seeing already, but this channel stands out for one reason. One trope I've mentioned earlier for these reviews is having a sidekick for the reviewer to work off of and build jokes with. Sometimes they're portrayed by real people, other times they're silly fictional characters. You know, it's the kind of thing you've seen time and time again. And usually these characters are designed to be a comic relief type, who often steal the show if they're funny or memorable enough. And Lenny had a sidekick in his videos. However, she stole the show for a reason that I don't think he intended for.
Happy Apocalypse, everybody! Welcome to another episode of Lenny and Shinko's Disney Sea, or LSD for short. I'm Lenny.
And I'm Shinko.
Today, we're going to be looking at a movie about toys. A world where toys come to life and walk and talk, just like you and me do. A world where two toys go on an amazing adventure and...
You can read the title, Lenny. The Toy Story mislead gag isn't gonna work.
You party pooper.
This is real. This is actually happening. You're seeing this right. This guy created a fictional anime girlfriend for his sidekick. Okay, look, I'm trying really hard not to sound like a jerk here. Really, I know this doesn't look like it, and I know I said I didn't want to come across as bullying these people, but I just can't help but laugh at this. Like, what? This is real. He really went and gave himself a girlfriend for these videos. God, I feel bad for making fun of this, but this is on a whole nother level. Compared to these other critics, this is just a sight to behold. I mean, what can I even say about this? It's so ludicrously insane. So this is Shinko, Lenny's girlfriend. To be fair, I don't think he explicitly said that they were meant to be his girlfriend, but I mean, how else are we supposed to interpret this? Come on. The two have alright chemistry with each other, but it's just kind of off-putting because of the fact that he's talking to a cartoon girl. It's hilarious. Like, there's this part in the Roger Rabbit video where he's admiring over Jessica Rabbit, and Shinko seems to be jealous of him, or at least that's how it appears. In the videos, Lenny and Shinko do the usual shtick of reviewing and joking about the movie, and reacting to different scenes in comedic ways. The first episode kind of just starts, though. Like, Lenny and Shinko are just sitting around, and then they just decide to do a review out of boredom. And you could just tell that this video was made in 2011 from hearing one of the first jokes.
I think it's just that Disney magic that makes whatever they touch turn to gold.
Is that Hannah Montana?
Or vomit. Okay, so let's take a look.
Oh yeah, also in the first episode, Shinko doesn't actually speak. Instead, she just makes this obnoxious sound while using speech bubbles to communicate. Oh my god, I want to see the unedited version of this video so badly. Eventually, he did manage to find a voice actor for Shinko, and I know it may seem cheap for me to joke about this, and a bit presumptuous for me to assume that this guy did this just so he could have an anime girlfriend. Not that there's anything wrong with that, I just find it kind of funny.
You didn't tell me we were watching a snuff film.
Well, come on, Shinko, it's just a movie.
No!
Shinko, wait, come back!
Hi, every people.
Oh, you.
Oh my god, he procreated. It's confirmed. Okay, canonically speaking, this is just the younger version of Shinko, who appeared in this doorway that Lenny made for no reason. Like, he had no motivation for making a portal door, he just wanted to make a door that leads to other dimensions. I guess boredom is enough motivation for anything. That's why I made this video. But this younger version of Shinko from another world just comes out of the portal, and they decide to basically adopt it. So they're literally parents to this child. I mean, I don't even have to imply or infer anything anymore. It just doesn't matter if they're explicitly dating or not. They're practically a couple. I mean, I ship it. So going back to this portal door that he made out of boredom, this door is actually important as its inclusion is the centerpiece of a story arc. Of course it is. Yeah, this guy wrote a whole storyline as well. So, after the door is created, a mysterious masked figure comes out of it, and throughout the next few videos, the reviews continue normally, but every now and then, we would cut to this mysterious figure, who seems to be keeping tabs on our two hosts. We don't know why, but it's a review show, and as we all know, when there's a magical force in a review show, it always ties back to the reviewers in some way. It's happened so many times at this point that it's not even worth questioning anymore. So as the storyline continues, we see the masked figure talking with this lady. And then, in the Three Musketeers review, this happens at the very end.
Huh, nice job, nerd. You pulled through.
It's Nega Cinco. And what in the negaverse are you wearing?
It was a fast disguise. I had to improvise.
Oh man, now that is some M. Night Shyamalan levels of plot twist right there. I mean, wow, like that is the plot twist of the century right there. What's gonna happen next? The suspense is just killing me. Isn't it killing you too?
Oh, gross! Oh, what is this? Chocolate?
That's just
I think I just saw it move.
This continues into the next video, a first impressions video for the trailer of Wreck-It Ralph, which is about to come out at the time. So before the video begins, we get this video message from Lenny, setting up the events of the video. And this is actually kind of interesting. He's doing sort of a Cloverfield style opening here, telling us that it's been months since they uploaded the video, and a lot happened since then. And he and Shinko are basically forced to take a vacation from making videos. And this video that we're watching right now sort of shows us why this happened.
What happened was... Actually, I think it's better if I just showed you guys what happened. We were in the process of working on our latest video, and everything kind of went wrong.
After giving his analysis on the trailer, he rushes out of the living room and finally comes into contact with his evil clone.
Oh, hey, quick question. How much do you think this thing is worth? Give me a rough estimate. I don't know. $400 maybe? Not anymore.
Who are you guys?
Wait, didn't you know? We're the new neighbors. We just moved in. But it seems the former occupant left some messes for us to clean up. So we're gonna start off with pest control.
Okay, I'm sorry, but this is just hilarious. Oh my god, he's really trying to play up this cool edgy guy role, isn't he? So, this is the big moment we've all been waiting for, right? Where these two finally meet each other and we find out why these clones have been spying on our main characters. It pains me to say this, but this story arc never actually materialized into anything substantial. This series was abandoned right as it was picking up steam, and we never got to find out what was up with these clones, what their plans were, and why Lenny and Shinko were gone. Really, we were just left in the dark about everything that was supposed to happen in the story. It's very sad to hear about. For as much as I like to clown on videos like this, I'm bummed that we didn't get to see anything come out of this story. Because I really think that there was potential here to make something entertaining. And sadly, we're never going to see what Lenny had in mind for his story and his characters. Nowadays, the Shinko Show, like all of these channels, has fallen into obscurity. You're not going to see riots in the streets over this story being unresolved. If only people cared about this stuff as much as I did. Thankfully, I'm not alone. Because someone else did care about this channel. Yes, you heard that right. So I found this channel called... I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. But for some reason, this channel in 2025 talked about the Shinko Show. And it's literally a timeline of the canonical events. For this show that was over a decade old at this point and was abandoned. I mean, that's just stunning.
You know it's not the same Robin.
A man can dream, Shinko.
The Robin in this one is a kid!
I can't believe someone else cared that much to the point where they brought attention to one of these reviewers in the modern day. But then again, other YouTubers like Magic Mush and Dylan the Night Owl have done the same thing. It's always neat seeing someone actually spotlight a show that they enjoyed watching back then. One that most people never even knew existed. That's why I made this video, to discuss some of these channels I watched back then. You know, even seeing the ones that I didn't grow up with being discussed just gives me a good sense of nostalgia. And I would hope that I was able to invoke that feeling with all of you as well. I really think that the early days of YouTube reviews were something special. It's probably just nostalgia talking admittingly, but even when I take off those rose-colored glasses, I see several creators who poured their hearts and souls into making something for the web. A performance of sorts, for an audience to see, no matter how big or small these creators might have been, and how their audience might have been. They had dedicated fans who liked seeing their favorite channels entertain to all those who tuned in. It makes me happy to know that there are still people out there who try to make videos like this, akin to the likes of Nostalgia Critic and all these other creators, and even happier when other YouTubers reminisce on these review channels, even if it's just a joke about them. But these channels are special. They weren't just review shows. They wanted to entertain us and show off their creativity and skills. And like I said, there were hundreds of channels just like this back then. Some may have been more high quality than others, while some made something out of nothing. And this era of reviewing was a magical time, where people just wanted to entertain as they informed the audience about a movie. And everyone who did these videos had their own spin on the genre, and put their own amount of effort and passion into their works. Honestly, if I really wanted to, I could just talk for hours and hours on end about these shows. And there's more than enough of these review videos out there. Like, there's hundreds of them. I could probably even do a sequel someday. So you know what? I'll leave this part up to you, the viewers, the ones who keep the creators going. So to end off this video, I want to hear from you guys. I talked about quite a few channels here, some of which I grew up with and others that I found out about for the first time. But with so many of these review shows being out there in the open, I'm almost certain that there are hundreds of other channels like this that flew under the radar. I would almost discover these videos by accident, and I'm sure that's how many of you found channels like this as well. Just about all these reviewers have their own small fan bases that were dedicated to them, whether they're rewatching them for nostalgia or dedicated enough to watch them long term. I think many of us could have a shared connection for this era of YouTube, where people made these videos for fun, made shows out of nothing, garnered their own following, and made their little show for people to tune into, and get a taste of their creativity. So, I want you guys to leave your suggestions for these review shows that I can cover in the comments. This is a subject that I definitely love to revisit sometime, as there are plenty of other channels I could have discussed here. If possible, I want to turn this into a series for the channel if there's enough fan suggestions. So leave your suggestions down below and I'll be sure to check out the channels. Again, I'll consume them in a heartbeat, as this really is my favorite genre on YouTube. As you can see, I was pretty obsessively dedicated to some of these creators, so I'd like to hear what review channels you guys are dedicated to. Feel free to share the nostalgia down below, and be sure to like and subscribe for more videos. With all that being said, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. I'm Sam V, and I review these reviewers so you don't have to.
Alright, you three. What's the word I'm looking for? Dipshits? No, that word is too good for you. Assholes? That's not quite right either. Fuckers? No. I'm just gonna call you three excuses for humanity until I can find a description that properly suits your crude, idiotic, and juvenile talentless asses. What reality do you three live in? I really want to know. I'm genuinely curious. In this reality, it's conventional wisdom that it actually takes an adult to write for children. What am I saying? That's not fair. Children would make better writers than you three. Hell, infants would. My dog would. You mindless, degenerate hacks. You three may want to thank your lucky stars every second of every day that whatever the fuck you sold your souls to was stupid enough to give you your jobs. Because if you lose your jobs writing this trite shit, you will most likely never work again. Not just in television, but in any job. I don't know anyone who would lower themselves so substantially to even reluctantly want your demented, poisoned minds around. Just leave us all alone and go back to the fucking sledge you came from.